Hi everyone, Helene and I are back to continue our discussion of the experiences and teaching that we've received from our Greys Zeta teachers over the years. Helene's got some good questions to put to me.
Yes.
And we'll be having a very interesting discussion.
Hi everyone. Okay, first question. Why do people experience missing time?
Okay, what is generally not understood is the fact that time is only on the physical plane. It doesn't extend beyond third dimensional reality. Now, in the majority of cases when people are taken by the ET visitors, this is outside of our third dimensional reality. It generally takes place in what is known as the astral plane. And on the astral plane, time doesn't exist. It's the astral plane that we visit during our dream state, where we can go backwards and forwards in time, meet up with relatives who've passed over. So it just doesn't, there's a completely different framework in the astral to what there is down here. So during an ET encounter experience, our ET visitor helps us up out of our physical body, which is really nothing more than a vehicle. It's like a driver stepping out of a car, taking us into the astral so that we're vibrating on a higher frequency and we move beyond space and time. And this is why we can seem to be only away for a few hours, and in actual fact we can have hours of physical time missing, or vice versa. It can work the other way as well. We can seem to be over there for a long time, when in actual fact only minutes have passed down here.
Yeah, because I can remember when Oris was saying that our time down here, like one day could be like 1 month.
Exactly.
Of difference up there. So you could be up there for a month where it's a day here. That's why it feels a lot longer when you're having your experiences.
Exactly. The times aren't parallel at all, because you've actually stepped out of physical third dimensional time when you're taken into the astral.
And I also remember, it just came to my mind, that he told us that he could actually be in 3 places at once. So while he's meditating, or as he put it simply to us, in one spot, then he could be visiting. Part of his aspect of his being is often and visiting or doing work in 2 different places.
Well, that's absolutely right, because what we've got to remember, we're all interdimensional beings. The Greys are, everyone in the whole universe is interdimensional. So we have different aspects of our being on different vibratory levels, different energy levels. And so therefore, it's just the same as down here. When we meditate, we can actually leave our body. We leave our body during sleep. But the difference between down here and up there, where the Greys are operating, they can do it consciously, whereas we haven't learned how to do that yet. Of course, somehow, I mean, you look at the Eastern adepts, they can do it. But the average human hasn't learned to do that yet. But it doesn't mean we can't. That ability is still with everyone.
Yeah, well, that simplifies things.
It certainly does.
Okay, so to sort of move to the next part of with energy, I noticed that when the early stages happened, when my kids were being taken, I used to think, how could they come into my house without me hearing them and taking my child, and how can they walk through walls and or flick the lights or make noise or do whatever? How can they do all this? And I think it'd be really great to explain to people about that.
Oh, look, for sure, because so many people go through a lot of fear with this aspect of it, particularly mothers, worrying about their children being taken off, as you were, Helene, children being taken off to heaven knows where during the night with these beings that you had really no idea who or what they were. Again, we go back to the fact that generally the experience is carried out in the astral plane. The astral plane is like a meeting ground, because down here we operate in physical reality. So we're focused on the physical, whereas the ETs, being of a higher dimensional frequency, they're focused on higher levels. So we've got to find a common meeting ground between the two, and that's what the astral plane is. And so when a child, for example, is taken at night, or any of us, the physical body is actually left in the bed. It's the astral form that leaves. And the astral form, being of a finer, higher frequency, can easily move through doors and close windows. Locked doors aren't a bar to the astral. And this is the way the ETs come and go so easily. Just the same as their discs can suddenly appear up in the sky and the next minute they can disappear. Because they're masters of energy. They're workers of energy within the universe. And so they know, this is part of their technology, is knowing how to elevate their vibrational frequency or bring it down. So they can manifest physically, they can manifest on the astral level, they can manifest on the higher soul level. They're masters of this.
So then, in other words, when we step out of our body, our astral form is vibrating at a higher frequency, which is then able to move through walls like ghosts or ETs.
Absolutely,
as well.
Absolutely, yes. A really good comparison is talking about ice, water and steam. It's exactly the same substance, but a different vibrational frequency. Ice is a solid, heavy substance vibrating at a low frequency. As it's heated, it starts to melt and become water. So therefore it's vibrating at a higher frequency, so it's more malleable, more liquid, finer in substance. If you continue to heat it, it becomes steam, which it goes up into the atmosphere, disappears. It can go through things. It's like pouring water through a sieve, moving an astral form through a closed door or a window. The vibrational frequency changes.
Okay, so then I remember with when my daughter, one night when she left with Horus, we had a sign out the front and she banged into the sign with a toe. And the next morning she had a sore toe. But at that time she was in her astral form. So what happens to you when your astral form can come through into your physical form then, can't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. In general, 99% of contact experiences happen in the astral, as I said. Now, people have experiences of being taken up on the disc and actual medical procedures being carried out on them. I've had several of these done, so have you, so has your daughter Kira and son Ben. So what happens with our astral body actually impacts upon the physical body. And so you can be taken up onto the disc to have something done. You might have like an acupuncture treatment or something, and you'll actually wake up the next morning with a scar or a little red mark, I should say, on your body, and you'll remember, oh, okay, I remember being up on the disc and they put a needle in there. Gee, I've got a little mark there.
So does that mean that our DNA within our body and which is then part of our astral body, all the DNA is really multidimensional?
Absolutely.
So that's why that happens?
Absolutely, absolutely. The DNA is the key to the whole thing. What scientists call junk DNA is actually deeper parts of our DNA and our multidimensional self that at this point in time haven't been activated. But this is part of the reason why those ones of us who are ready to move forward in our evolution are being taken up onto the discs to have procedures carried out. They're actually working on our DNA when we're up there. And so the whole thing ties in together.
So the difference I have actually felt, and so have you obviously, but the difference between, say, the energy of a human to the energy of an ET, or in our case a Zeta, when Horus visits us at home here, and when he used to come to, a lot of the time and would be talking to my daughter Kira and myself, we would feel absolutely like freezing cold, but on the inside it was, it was warm outside, but on the inside I felt like my body was just vibrating and shaking and I was freezing. But at the same time, when I was trying to ask Horus questions, I felt like my brain was slowing down, and it was the most weird sensation. So because of that, I've sort of come to the understanding that it's because Horus is vibrating at such a high level, and it was our bodies reacting to it, wasn't it?
Exactly, exactly. The human body actually reacts on a physiological level to the energy of the ETs, particularly the Zetas, because they're working with us on like an evolutionary level, assisting our energies to evolve to a higher frequency. So therefore, just their presence, the frequency they're putting out, their aura, actually impacts upon our body. And energy of a very high frequency is cold. I know heat comes into it at times, but in general it's cold. And this actually does impact upon our body and has a very profound effect. It's exactly the same as the physiological effect of fear. We may not actually feel the fear, we're not actually frightened of them, but it's like our body reacts in a fear reaction. The heart begins to beat faster. The vibrational frequency starts to come up, so we start trembling. Many people start trembling in their presence, and that inner shaking sensation.
Yeah, and it makes sense because, I mean, they're such advanced beings.
And so different.
You know, yeah. Okay, so also bringing into the fear side of it, a lot of people are really scared that their soul's going to be taken. Can you explain that to people, please?
Yes, yes. Now, this brings us back to the astral. Because we're not being taken physically, it's our astral form, which is our mind, personality, spirit part of our being. Now, during an encounter experience, the Zeta actually helps us to leave the body. It's like we're a driver of a car and they're assisting us out of the driving seat to take us up onto the disc wherever we're going for whatever needs to be done. Now, because it's a slightly unnatural experience. Okay, we leave the body every night during our sleep. So leaving the body, we're normally sound asleep, we're unconscious when it happens. But during an encounter experience, we're often slightly or even quite conscious. And so therefore, this experience of having astral form assisted out of the physical body, many people misinterpret that and think, oh, my soul's being taken. Because it is a very strange feeling. Even the weight coming down on your body, that's energy. You'll often sort of feel or hear a loud roaring, buzzing sound. That's the sound of the astral plane as you open up to these higher vibrations.
So feeling the pressure on your chest, for instance, it's more of yourself feeling on some level that your soul's, you can feel it on a physical level.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes.
That your soul's going, moving out.
Yes, and it's this high frequency coming down on you. We experience it often during a Reiki treatment. You'll often have people, as you know, from doing treatments, people will come out after a Reiki treatment, they'll wake up and they'll say, oh, I could feel this huge pressure on my body. And that's what it is, it's the energy, it's a different frequency of energy that our physical body is registering.
I just thought of another question. Some people worry that, okay, I know it worried me in the beginning, but I understand now, but when your soul part of yourself leaves your body, I used to be scared and wonder, what if my soul gets lost or it can't get back into the body? So you can explain that
people
too.
are scared of that. This can't happen because many people who've had this experience have happened to look down and they see what's referred to as a silver cord, which connects all the different levels of our being. We're all multidimensional, so we have different levels, and this silver cord actually connects us. So when the astral form leaves the body, the silver cord remains intact. I mean, providing it's a living experience. When you die, of course, the cord's severed, which is actually referred to in the Bible, the cord be severed. But yes, so the silver cord is like a lifeline. It keeps you attached to the physical body, so you can't get lost.
And no one can take you and stop you from trying to get back in your body either,
Absolutely
can they?
not,
Yeah.
no.
Also, I've noticed that a lot of people are really frustrated and angry with the Greys and other ETs as well with not communicating with us. So, Judy, can you explain to everybody what is really going on?
Yes, this is quite an issue upstairs, as we refer to being up on the disc. The problem is brainwave frequencies. Now, when we're down here, awake, in our waking state, we're working on a particular brainwave frequency. When we're in an altered state, having an encounter experience, we're in a different brainwave frequency. But sometimes we remain with the one that we're in down here because of the fear. We can't raise our brainwave frequency up to a higher level. So therefore, when the ETs try and communicate, or we try and communicate with them, no one can hear what anyone's saying because they're trying to communicate on one frequency and we're trying to communicate on another, and we can't get up to that frequency because of our fear. It's like we enclose ourselves within a cocoon of fear.
Because it reminds me of, like, when you had the old days of radio when you're on AM frequency and FM frequency, and they both, you can't play the AM stations on the FM frequency.
That's exactly
Yep.
really, really good comparison. And so the ET can be really trying hard to communicate, whereas a human can't hear them.
So what's the best way, what is the best way for a human to try and communicate though?
Well, this can take time because the difficulty is the person has to move past their fear. Once they can let go of the fear, then they can relax and their brain state can go into alpha or theta or whichever state that they need to be in for the communication to take place. But it's a matter of moving past the fear. And so this is why we're carrying out these discussions to try to help people who are going through the ET encounter experience to deal with their fear and know that there's really nothing to be scared of.
Yeah, the biggest thing that helped me through my fear was, number one, learning about all this, and the knowledge really helped me to understand it and to help me move through my fear. And the second thing that helped me immensely was Reiki as well. That it raised my vibrational frequency, and also meditation. So I've had different experiences while I've given myself a Reiki treatment or while I meditate, and that raises your frequency as well, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
To help people to calm themselves through the fear as well as to communicate.
Yes, the spiritual practice of any sort helps to raise the vibrational frequency, helps to move you past the fear, but also gaining understanding. As we always say, we have it up on our website, knowledge is power, but understanding is empowerment.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody.
Thank you.
And we'll talk again soon. Take care.